all for coming out. It was supposed to rain today, but it didn't rain, thankfully, or not yet. I'm Karina, for those of you guys who don't know me, I'm the vice president. Some just quick announcements. Membership fees, $25. You can pay Jessica, she's over there. Comes with this shirt. We have the shirts today if you didn't get a shirt last time. The ambassador program is now open if anybody is interested in having a position on the board. We have the marketing director and the membership and recruitment director positions open. Next week we have Dress for Success, so we won't be meeting here, but you guys are welcome to join us at the Kellogg Plaza. We're gonna have a lot of food, prizes. Models are gonna be doing their elevator pitch. We have Karina representing us. If you guys, she's representing us, so if you guys can come cheer her on. The winner is gonna receive a $200 check from us, so it's really good for the other societies. And then the JCPenney student event is on March 10th. If you guys want to get some clothes for interviews and whatnot, this is a really good thing to go to. Next week, or in 2 weeks from now, we're going to have Brad Haddendorf. He is working at Relation Edge, a marketing place. And then today we have Benny Andrade. He works at Dr. Bronner's, and he's going to go ahead and start us off.
Buenos días a todos. Good afternoon. Good evening. Buenas tardes. My name is Benny Andrade. Like colleague, thank you, Karina, for the introduction. Mentioned, I'm the senior logistics manager for Dr. Bronner's. Have you heard about this brand before, Dr. Bronner's? It's a soap company, exactly, and I'll dive into a little bit more. Thank you for having me. Appreciate Karina, Teresa, and all of you that really muscle the rain in here. We need to show up. That's the one thing first, right? Have the battle today. Gracias por tenerme. I think because we are the, you guys are the Latino business group, we'll mix in some Spanglish here as well. But please raise your hand, those of you who are first or second generation Americans here. Okay. Raise your hand, those who speak 2 or more languages. All right, good. Raise your hand, those who identify as a minority in this country. All right, I think we have a lot of things in common. All right, so one of the things that I like for you, and when I'm invited to this type of presentations, is to share my story and to identify with you guys. Okay, I might look old. I'm not that old. I'm 39 years old. That a few years ago, I was still sitting behind those desks, and now I have the privilege to be on this side because I also teach. So I feel what you guys feel, and I feel what your professors feel as well, right? And now this generation, some of us will say it's challenging, and then it's just different, right? It's changing, and change is not good or bad, it's just this, right? And we come up with the generations, and we understand the challenges and the difficulties and the also beauty of every single generation. So all the things that you guys raise your hand and identified, I also am a first generation. Well, let me tell you a little bit of my story. It's a little bit weird. I was born here in San Diego, but raised on both sides of the border. Okay, and both in Baja California and California as well. On my mother's side of the family, I'm 5th generation from Tecate, Baja California. If you guys don't know where Tecate is or heard about Tecate, you probably heard about the beer, Tecate, right? Yes, there's a town not named after the beer. The beer is named after the town. Okay, it's about 20 miles east of Tijuana. So I was born in San Diego. My mother was born in Tecate. My grandfather was born in Campo, California. His mother was born in Tecate, California. Her father was born in Tulare, California. His father was born in New York, and before that, there were Irish migrants. Okay, so that's my side of the my mother's family. So every other generation, we've jumped that wall, right? Or we've jumped that fence, or crossed. But this is the nature of migration, right? We come back and forth, and we just back in the day where there were no rhetoric about walls or stuff like we hear today. It was just people coming back and forth, and going where the jobs are, like today, where family is, like today, right? And where, you know, where the heart is, pretty much, like today. So, in that sense, nothing much has changed. At the same time, you know, a lot of things have changed. So I went to school, I started school in Baja California, but I always went to summer school this side of the border. Right? So for those of you guys who don't have friends, living by the border, really, in Baja California or San Diego, really close to the border, the migration experience is different, right? So you pretty much live like 1 foot on one side of the border, the other side of the border. So you get the best out of it and the worst out of it at the same time, right? You learn English through television. Back in the 80s, the only television networks that we got in Baja were U.S. networks. So I learned through Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, KPBS, Sesame Street, all the 1980s cartoons, G.I. Joes, He-Man, and My Little Pony. Well, I know my sister, but I did a lot of stuff. So that was exposure, right? All the American culture exposure, but also growing up in this region where if you go southern Mexico, you don't feel that much Mexican. You go to America and you don't feel that much American. So you were almost in between, right? Some of the people say, and I don't need to be politically correct, right? You go down to South Mexico, you speak English, and you feel more identified with American culture or binationalism, and they're like, no, you're too brown to be Mexican, or you're too white to be Mexican, and you go here, you're too brown to be American, or whatnot. So the fact of the matter is, being binational, something to be proud of. Being bicultural is something to be proud of. All tricultural. Being bilingual is something that you guys should be proud of. Right? In your families, probably you raise. I saw a few hands up that you're first generation here, migrants. And if in your households you're encouraged to speak Spanish, or you're not, probably because your family sometimes have had difficulties adapting to the culture, adapting to the language. Speak it. Really, I encourage you to do that. Right? And not only at home, but also try to make that extra effort. Right? Speak the language the way it's supposed to be spoken. Right? Go to Spanish classes, or go to French classes, go to Italian, whatever the culture you identify with. Right? You will find out the value of knowing another language. Our brains function differently. We think being raised here on the border, both in Celsius and Fahrenheit, both in kilometers and miles, English and Spanish, dollars and pesos. You have a broader perspective of what the world is. Right? So, when I started college in Tijuana, at a private university business school, I then transferred in a road trip program called the MEXIS program, Max for Mexico, US for the United States. This program was the first and only educational and academic program signed when NAFTA was signed. You guys heard about NAFTA? The North American Free Trade Agreement signed by the United States, Mexico, and Canada back in 1994. So it was not only about trade, it was also about culture exchange, sports exchange, and academics exchange. Right? And this program was signed by the three countries in that it will allow you to take half of your courses in Mexico and half of your courses in the United States, earning a double degree in international business. So that's what I did. I took 1 year in my courses in Mexico, next year at San Diego State, then the third year came back, and then the fourth year came back to San Diego State. And in between, because the load was a little bit stronger and heavier than my typical classmates, I had to take extra classes. So I had to take sometimes early morning classes at San Diego State, then in between my internship, and then drive back to Tijuana to take classes there, and then all over again, right? I didn't have a life, but hey, we made it. So 4 years, 4.5 years, I graduated with a dual degree program, or dual degree major in international business. Right after college, starting working at a trucking company. So like most first jobs will kind of define your career path. Right? I never thought about working in logistics or trucking, or I didn't have, I had some vague idea about what was that, but I got enrolled in that. I got really involved and started to be a passion for me. This binational trucking company that had operations in San Diego and operations in Mexico. So I was working in the San Diego office. I liked it so much that I enrolled in a master's degree program, MBA, Master of Business Administration, and with concentration in supply chain, which focuses a lot on logistics and transportation. That was what I was doing. So I worked for this company for about 6.5, almost 7 years. Then I moved on to another company, which is in the logistics industry as well, a third-party logistics company, a broker. Now I was selling the service. And then after that, I moved to where I am right now at Dr. Bronner's as a logistics coordinator, then logistics manager, and then senior logistics manager for the company. All right? And in between, I've been a professor at Southwestern Community College. You guys are familiar with that? Down in South Bay. It's like Palomar College here. Also at SETS University. Also at National University currently. And past few years, I've taken logistics and supply chain certificates at MIT in Massachusetts and MSU in Michigan, and related to logistics and supply chain. So when I mentioned that I really like logistics and transportation supply chain, I really like it, right? I really created this path for me. And when you start having those skills, you have something to offer, right? And right now for you guys, it's all about building those skills, building that tool set. So I'm sure that some of you guys who are at home with your parents or in your cars, you guys have a tool set with, maybe a hammer or a couple of screwdrivers or something like that. And you go to a store, you go to Sears, or you go to a flea market, hey, I'm gonna grab this. You start building your own little tool set. Imagine that like that. So you're at college, you build that tool set. And then you take a language course, and then you take a certificate in this, and you're building that tool set, and you start working, and then you move on. Guess what? You get that tool set, and you move on to the next challenge in your career. So, sad to tell you that this learning stuff never stops, and it should never stop, okay? Because it's what you guys can offer where you're going to see that advantage. Okay? And some people in this country think that because of the reason that we raise our hands, have a disadvantage. No, really no. It's because of that we have an advantage. Because of that we have proven ourselves. Then we can work harder, stronger, smarter. Is that reason that we're here? The reason that we're going to make the next full effort to really make a life out of ourselves. So I really encourage you to never stop learning. Okay? So that's kind of what I do, who I am. I'm really passionate about teaching. I'm really passionate about the company that I work for, and I'm gonna dive into a little bit of that. During my high school years, before that, and during college, I was a swimmer. I think I still am, but I don't have the build anymore, right? But during my teenage years, I had a scholarship in college, so I had the opportunity to not pay a single dime really when I went to college. Full scholarship at SETS University in Tijuana. And then when I enrolled in this exchange program, you were supposed to pay in your home university, which I had 100% scholarship. So guess what? I only pay for my books and no tuition and my parking, which I know is kind of expensive, right? But you look for ways how to do that stuff. Right? Also, another thing that I want to encourage you guys, and I was talking with your colleague Teresa, should I know her? Travel. Okay, I got to travel when I was enrolled in sports. And that really created a spark for me to start traveling around the country and around the world. Okay? And travel, guys, really gives you something that school will not give you, or jobs will not give you. It will really open you a broader perspective of the world. Unfortunately, here in America, people don't like to travel. Right? We think that we're very self-absorbed, that we're the best in the world and that we don't need to travel because we're the best country in the world. Yes, we are. For so many things. And in so many things, we're not even top 10. Really, to be honest. And when you go out there in the world, you see the real world. And when you travel to the third world, quote unquote, or developing countries, you really appreciate what we have here. You know what I'm saying? We're definitely ahead of the game in some of the areas. But when you travel to other countries, those countries that some of our politicians or some of our people in our society and business community say, oh, they're socialist countries, or they're slow and they only think about siestas and stuff like that. Guess what? Their lifestyle, way up, better than ours. Here in America, we're only that rat race, right? Work, school, and then you have to pay your bills and have a better car and have a better home. And you don't realize and step back a little bit. It's like, hey, let's enjoy ourselves. Why are we doing this? Right? I was recently in Germany for work, and mixed it a little bit with play, and went out see the city, and I've been there a couple of times before. But when you jump into a train and you're in a city that's probably 250, 300 miles, and you get there in 2 hours, and with the highest technology, Wi-Fi in the train, and a bar and coffee shop inside, and it's like, we don't have this in our country, and aren't we supposed to be like the best? And when you go to other countries and where every single establishment says cash-free establishment. I'm talking about the Scandinavian countries. A couple of years I went there, and I never saw currency. So I don't know how crowns are, Norwegian or Swedish crowns. So I never paid with cash, and it's just only credit cards or debit cards. So a little bit more advanced society. When you start learning another language, and when you go to this country and you start talking in the native language, people appreciate that. Right? It gives you another perspective. Again, the world is flatter when you have that open mind to it. And so I really encourage you to start traveling. Start small, yes. Fine. Travel here, travel there, but that will start that bug in you guys. And learning more about other cultures, and learning more about languages, and learning more about history. That's one other thing about history buff. I love reading about history because that really makes you understand why are we situated here? Why are we doing the stuff that we're doing right now? What other countries are different from us? And also one of my passions is food. I see you and I'm calling those Subway sandwiches. But yes, it's another gateway to understand cultures and to understand people. And this is probably, next to music, the one thing that will everybody agree. Right? Everybody, I think, loves music, and that's the universal language. And food, really. When you go out there, when you go to another country or another state or another city, go to where the locals eat. Go to where the people that work every single day, a 9-to-5 job or whatever, go to eat. If you travel abroad, so you're gonna go to McDonald's. Don't go to Kentucky Fried Chicken or Pizza Hut. Really, go where there's a bunch of people, even street trucks or something. Right? Street food is one way to really understand how people function on a day-to-day basis. Okay? Any questions so far? We'll leave that to the end.
Have you lived, how many years have you been in the U.S. and have you lived somewhere else?
I've only lived in Mexico and here. And back and forth pretty much all my life. Full time here for the last a while, 20 years probably, 18 to 20 years. But again, being raised and living in the borders, just very natural coming back and forth, right? So when I started my first job, it was located in Old Time Mesa, so really just across the border. So it was very convenient for me to live on the other side of the border, just commute. Then I moved a little bit further north, so I moved here. And then even though when I was living in working in Old Time Mesa, I was for a period of time I was living in Bonita. So I've been all over the place. I always say and call myself a product of NAFTA, right? So because I have 2 citizenships, I speak 2 languages, fluently. I worked both sides of the border. I went to school both sides of the border. I enjoy both cultures. So I'm a product of this generation that opened the countries to different markets, right? So I'm a product of that, I guess, right? Even though the past year this conversation about NAFTA that it's bad, and no, it's not bad, right? There are a lot of good things, really. A lot of good things about having real good neighbors and having good partners in commerce and in culture and in so many areas as well, right? The United States really should, our current situation should focus on our virtual borders. Right? The United States borders are not, just the south border with Mexico, north border with Canada. Borders of the United States go beyond, right? You want to guess why we have troops in Afghanistan and Syria and Iraq and military bases all around the world? Because those are all our borders, really, because we're there, because we have interest in trade, because we have interest in, other countries. I don't want to go deep into it, but that's the reason, right? And when we have good neighbors like Mexico in the south and Canada in the north, really we should really embrace those friendships, right? So to answer his question, long story short, just Mexico and the United States. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. So I'm going to dive a little bit into Dr. Bronner's. I know we have 15 more minutes. So I'm going to show you a quick video of who we are, and then I'm going to go through our presentation really quick, and then leave it for questions, okay? Hope this sounds not that loud.
Hi, I'm Lisa Bronner, and today we're going green with a tour of our liquid castile soap production here at the Dr. Bronner's headquarters in Vista, California. My grandfather brewed his first batch of soap in a tenement apartment in Los Angeles, and now we've grown to this 125,000 square foot factory. All the magic is made right here. Ingredients come in from around the globe and get shipped out as finished soap. Liquid soap production begins out back, so let's catch a ride. Every company needs an awesome repurposed fire truck. Thanks, Cassidy. This mural was painted in memory of my uncle Ralph Bronner, who carried the soul of Dr. Bronner's for many years. He passed away in 2015, but this commemorates 2 of his great passions, helping children and playing folk music. This heart contains the handprints of all the Bronner family. Here's where our raw materials come in and are stored. These tanks store our major oils for liquid soap production: coconut, olive, and palm kernel. The coconut oil comes in from our fair trade sister projects in Sri Lanka and Samoa. Our olive oil is supplied by fair trade farmers in both Palestine and Israel, blending the efforts of many backgrounds and beautifully symbolizing Dr. Bronner's all-one ideal. Our fair trade palm kernel oil comes from Ecuador, where palm trees do not displace primates or other animals from their natural habitats. We go through one shipping container, that's 40,000 pounds of coconut oil every 1.3 days. We're standing here in front of the main soap reactor, and with me is Ishmael, our master soap maker. He makes 3,000 gallons of soap in each batch, and 3 to 5 batches per day. That's 2.7 million gallons of soap in 1 year. At the end of the process, soap is really hot. If we bottled it immediately, the bottles would melt. Instead, it cools in these cooling tanks and then travels through this beautiful manifold into the appropriate holding tank to await bottling. The interior tank farm holds finished soap. The colors of the tank correspond with their scent. So we have dark blue for peppermint, light blue for unscented, the yellow for citrus, and lavender for, well, lavender. This is the gorgeous centerpiece of the plant for me. This soap right here is what it's all about. During my grandfather's time, every bottle of soap was filled by hand with gravity-fed lime, and every label was a sticker applied by hand. Since then, to keep up with demand, we've installed 5 automated filling machines, but we still use these gravity-fed lines for hand-filling smaller runs. When we made this conversion, we retrained our employees, so there was no job loss. We just made it so that every person's efforts were multiplied. Here we are in the middle of the automated bottling area, and it is loud. This is the most mesmerizing part of the plant floor. The day we got our first automated bottler was a game changer. It allowed us to keep up with orders. Without them, some of you would not be able to get our soap. This setup right here is called the monoblock filler. It can take pallets of empty bottles and turn them into pallets of boxed soap. We use this machine to fill our quart castiles, our most popular size. In fact, almost 50% of our sales come from quart castiles alone. This is what kids who play with Legos build when they grow up. Each of these machines has a very specific purpose. This one's sole purpose is to put the bottles right side up. This is the filler. Here is the capper. Next comes the labeler, the lot coder, the sealer. A box building machine delivers an open box underneath the bottle line, and the soap drops right in. Then, the boxes go to a box taper, which always makes me laugh because it looks like the box is getting a kick in the pants. Lastly, we have the pallet builder. And voila, a finished pallet of soap ready to be shipped out. From up here, you get a great view of the plant floor. When we moved in here 4 years ago, we thought it would take us 10 years to use all this space. However, as you can see, there's hardly a square inch available. What a change from the tenement apartment where my grandfather began. And from here, you get a view of another highlight of the floor, the label racks. Not only are the label rolls beautiful, but they represent the global reach of our products, bringing excellent soap and a message of world unity to all people. It's a joy to see the different translations, French, German, Spanish, Hebrew, and more. And the Hebrew label for Israel is particularly moving in light of my grandfather's Jewish roots. One of my early jobs at the plant was stickering the Canadian bottles with bilingual labels. I am glad we have machines for that now. Thanks for joining me and the Dr. Bronner's liquid soap production team for a tour around our home base. We'll see you the next time we go green. All right.
All right, that's Dr. Bronner's. Okay, so I run the logistics department. That means that I oversee all the inbound, and that means all the raw materials that we need to produce that. Raw materials, packaging materials, everything that comes into our plant. 80% of the raw materials come from abroad. A country that, as you heard, Samoa, Sri Lanka, Ecuador, France, some machinery from Italy, Spain, Philippines, all around the world, really. Most of our packaging materials come from the greater Los Angeles area or the Midwest. So 80% of our raw materials or products come from abroad, 20% domestic. And 80% of our finished product are domestic sales, and 20% of our sales are international, in all those countries that, some of the countries that Lucy Bronner mentioned there. We're in about 22 to 24 countries around the world, with different labels, etc. Right? So Dr. Bronner's, we're a family soap makers committed to honoring the vision of the founder, Dr. Emmanuel Bronner, by making socially and environmentally responsible products of the highest quality, and by dedicating our profits to help make a better world. That's a very broad mission, to make a better world. I don't know if you guys have encountered companies that really embed that in their vision or mission, but we're really committed to doing that. And how do we do it? What's our vision, and how we want to achieve that? Because we have 6 pillars, and this is part of who we are. And this is part in our country, in our company. We have the posters in our employee lounge, where our employees get free lunch every day, plant-based and organic lunch, where we also get free benefits, health benefits, bonuses every year. So it's a very, very generous company. Our CEO and president salary is capped 5-to-1, which means that they cannot earn more than 5 times what the lowest employee full-time earns. And that's unheard of, really, guys, because if you go to Wall Street and you go to the big banks and big corporation, the discrepancy between the lowest employee and the CEO is like, really, like 5,000 times the difference. They're making like $300 million a year, stuff like that, while other people are just making, ends meet, really. So that's something that companies need to reshift. Do we need that much money spending in private jets and stuff like that, and not trickling down to the rest of the organization, so we can benefit that within our communities? And that's some of our pillars, and you will see it. I'll go a little bit through them next. But our first pillar is work hard and grow. And this is one of the first very things that I told you guys. You're here because you want to achieve something, because you have challenges in front of you, because you are working hard for yourself, right? If it's not for you, then for whom? Right? If you want to help somebody, you have to first help yourself. And take it face value, whatever that means for you, right? So learn, grow, improve. Success is the engine that makes everything else possible. And we're here, I guess, because of that, because we want to be successful. We want to get ahead of the game, ahead of the curve, right? That's all. Number 1, work for ourselves, right? Number 2, it's our customers. Right? We are a company, we are a for-profit company, even though about 7 to 10% of our profits go back into charitable donations. We are very interested in helping our communities and helping the communities from our suppliers. And I'll look into that in a little bit. But our customers are number 1 priority, right? Because it's who we really owe our success. Only the purest, organic, and fair trade ingredients serve customers that you will serve mother and daughter and son. And you have that philosophy, right? It's like, you want to treat your family, your loved ones, or friends right, why won't you treat your customers right? Or the ones at the end paying for your product. Right? Number 3, treat employees like family. Really, we really have a sense of family and unity inside our company. And this should be pretty much everywhere you go. Right? Be kind, reward generously, support good and healthy living. Consider all who work with us as your extended family. I spend more time at work than I spend in my own household, really. I see my wife for like an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, because we're both working and we're dedicated to that right now. But, you spend a lot of time with you guys, your classmates, and your co-workers. So treat each other with dignity, right? Maybe they're not going to be your best friends. It's fine, but be friendly, right? Number 4, be fair to our supplier. This is one thing that we really take pride in. Everybody has smartphones, right? I think. Maybe most of you have Apple, an iPhone, right?
Yeah.
And we love iPhones, right? And we love Apple. I see that. But do you think that Apple, Amazon, Tim Cook knows exactly who's making their little devices? Do you know the working conditions of
It's
these
terrible.
people where they're making their iPhones?
China.
Right? China,
India.
Foxconn. You know that they put nets around the building because people are jumping out of the building because of the awful working conditions, trying to commit suicide. I mean, come on, guys, that's Apple too, but we don't know that story. We don't tell that story because we love our brands, and that's fine. I'm not criticizing that, but we really take pride of knowing and shaking the hands of our suppliers. That small clip that you see where we're in Sri Lanka or Samoa, or in Palestine, or in Ghana, or in India, we go there to the ground and we have a special operations team, and that's how it's called, that are the ones who are developing this relationships. And I've been a couple of times to Sri Lanka and really take pride of going in there and shaking the hands of the people and saying, hey, your coconuts, your oil makes us be the #1 product, natural soap in the market. That's what I say. So really, I mean, that's something that we should all know where our products come from. You want to know where your food comes from. You want to know who made your clothes. I mean, that would be great, especially when there's a lot of sketchy things throughout the supply chain. So those are some of our vertically integrated programs around the world. And what we mean about vertically integrated is that we own the facilities and where they process the product. Okay? We don't own plantations, we don't own the farms, we buy directly from farmers. So that's the difference, right? Fair prices for farmers, living wages and excellent working conditions for workers, investment in communities, respect for land and people. Number 5, treat the earth like home. There's no other home. There's no home B or planet B. We're gonna be stuck in this planet for a while. So make humble and mindful use of the earth's gifts. Do not waste, do not harm the land or people or animals. And regenerate, reuse, recycle, upcycle, and everything, okay? Buy used clothes. I do it all the time. I always carry this because I don't want to, use plastic. So every single little thing that you can make, you're contributing to that. Right? And lastly, our community. Our community, guys. Give and give. Be an engine for positive change. Share the profits, like I mentioned. We share about 7% of our profits. I mean, we're a $120 million company. 7% of that, it's about, $10 million. So going back to our communities, that's a lot. It means a lot. Share your talent. Share muscle. Share voice. Give and give. Fun and fight. What does that mean, guys? Get involved in your communities. Really. And I will say, when you have the interest, run for office. If you don't have an interest in running for office, do something with your communities. You guys are gathering here because you want to have that sense of community, you want to participate, you want to make a difference. So that's what community needs. Right? Oviedo, San Marcos, Vista, Carlsbad, Valley Center, or whatever. Get involved. I mean, we are a driver, we are an engine that can really make a difference, right? And by you guys sitting here and learning, you can contribute. You have muscle, you have knowledge, you have wisdom. So that's what we mean in getting involved in learning. Okay? I think we are running out of time, just in time for questions.
Okay, how did you manage to get to your leadership position? Like, did you start at something else in that company, or did you move from another company to that position?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was the first external hire for Dr. Bronner's, meaning that I was the first person that was brought in that didn't know anybody in the company. because our company has a long history of promoting from within still. And before I joined the company, everybody was promoted from within or brought into the company because they had a previous business relationship or something. So I came and they took a gamble with me because they needed a certain set of skills to manage this department. Right? So I guess, I know because I brought this set of skills, because I've demonstrated myself that I can really shine in other areas as well, in leadership and bringing people together and having the vision of the company really, really embedded in my daily activities, but also bring my own vision and how I want to lead the things. That's how I believe that I've been able to advance in our career within the company. I've been with the company almost 8 years, and I've been in my current position almost 2 years. So it's been a process, right? And guys, you're not going to be managers the first day of the job. You're not going to be, specialists in the first day of the job. It takes some time. It's like your first home will not be your dream home. Maybe your dream job. Your first job will not be your dream. So it takes some time.
Oh, sorry.
Almost there.
Okay.
Can you join us?
Yeah, sure, why not?
All right. Any other questions?
Can we just take a quick picture of you?
Sure, okay, of course. Lastly, I brought a couple of soap bottles. If you guys will answer a couple of questions. What's my major? International business. There we go, yeah. So our Rose Castile soap, 18-in-1 use, 4 okay, and can you mention 2 of the 6 pillars of our company?
You purchase supplies and you feed employees like that.
There you go. It's our tea tree oil, which is, the label's different because this is focused to one of our South Pacific countries where they don't allow to have the word God in it. And our company is Oman, God Faith. We're not a religious organization, but because they are Muslim countries, they don't support it. Right? So here you go. All right, let's get rid of our picture.